Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty Blue Hayes. I'm the award-winning author of the book Wine, Sex, and Suicide, My Near-Death Divorce. And I am going to continue with the author reading and then kind of chat about insights that I have now looking back, reflecting back on the time that I wrote this. Obviously, this is a very dark night of the soul story. That being said, if you're sensitive to content around depression, alcohol abuse, and suicide, I would suggest that you not watch this video and maybe save it for another time. So let me get started. I am going to do a little more chronological. Okay, so I left off with stating, when the hell did I give him permission to do that to me? Oh my God, these are so dirty. Oh well. And then, I chatted with you about, I know exactly when I gave him permission to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to continue from there. Thanksgiving is just weeks away. Normally, I'd be scouring my Epicurious magazines to prepare for the usual 3-day Thanksgiving festivities for 25 people. For the past few years, his brother Ryan and his girlfriend flew in from Arizona and helped peel 40 pounds of potatoes, arrange flowers, set up the rental tables and chairs, and unload the massive amount of grocery bags from my car. The house will be empty this year. No husband, no family and friends, no laughter, no feast, no backyard fire to toast late night s'mores, no dark games, no afternoon naps, and no kisses in the kitchen as we'd cross paths while entertaining. Did any of those years mean anything to him? I sobbed uncontrollably on the couch, shaking and almost gasping for air. He sat down close to me and put one arm around me. I thought how sad it was that the last physical contact I'd have with my husband was of his arm on my back as I collapsed emotionally. I retreated to the bedroom to lie down while he put suitcases into his car. I listened for the last of his footsteps at the end of the night when he must have finished loading up the car with what he wanted to take as he embarked on his new life without me. Wednesday, October 27th. I didn't hear his footsteps this morning when he left for the last time. It was heartbreaking to speak with my mother-in-law, Carol, earlier today. Patty, don't you see any way you two can work through this? Well, Carol, he told me he didn't want to be married anymore, I stated. Patty, if I had a nickel for every time I said I didn't want to be married to Stan, I'd be a very wealthy woman. But he's had sex with 2 different women just in the past 6 months. She told me there were certain details she didn't feel she needed to know. Thursday, October 28th. Monica's office was on the west side of LA, not too far from Mark's. I figured a west side attorney might be savvy. She was an attractive woman, my age or maybe younger, definitely more accomplished than me. I wonder if she thought I was a loser for being a housewife all these years. She wore a teal suit and her auburn hair framed her fair-skinned face and pretty light eyes. Observing her confidence had me wondering, why didn't I do anything with my life? Sitting in her contemporary conference room, we talked about the history of the relationship. Although Mark and I had a long-term relationship, the 7-year marriage meant I would only be eligible for 3.5 years of spousal support. I wanted support forever, like he promised me. Monica looked at me like I was an 8-year-old asking to take the car for a spin. That's unrealistic, she scolded. His attorney will order a work evaluation assessment of you to determine your earning ability. They'll conclude you are capable of earning a living, doing something. A new level of fear washed over me. I'd be subjected to psychological testing, which would conclusively prove to the world that I was an unskilled, inept screw-up with no marketable job skills and a failed marriage. There was talk of suing for palimony. Lists of personal property were made. Calculations were done secretly in her office while I waited in the conference room, sipping a glass of water and shaking. Taking his gross annual income, this is what you'd be entitled to, but I rarely see anyone get the full amount we ask for. She showed me a figure scrawled on paper. Okay, I whispered, literally whispered, because I developed partial laryngitis over the last week. You need to plan for your future, Monica stated. Work with a financial planner now so you know what your future financial situation will look like, and you can determine whether you can afford to stay in the house. Remember, you'll pay taxes on the spousal support. After our 2-hour meeting, we shook hands and I thanked her for her advice and expertise. I sat in my car, numbed from the experience. I never thought of our home and assets as his or mine. It was just ours. My head was spinning and my mouth felt dry. I needed to lie down. I couldn't face the thought of the congested traffic clogging Beverly Glen to get back into the valley from the west side. I went to a nearby restaurant where I set up my computer in the bar, had a glass of wine, and finally ate food. All I saw were couples in every direction. I couldn't look at them. It made me nauseous. Part of me wanted a man to approach me and speak to me, to be so amazing I'd forget my pain, to mesmerize me, to heal me, to take me away. I'd go anywhere to escape this feeling. I already feel myself slipping into dark places I haven't been since I was a teenager. So I'll stop there for a minute because that's an important thing, the, slipping into dark places that I hadn't been in a long time. And that is what suicidal ideation can sound like. So I definitely had times as a teenager when I didn't want to be alive, I wanted to end my life, or I just didn't want to be living. I was just kind of a tormented soul at different points due to different experiences. A lot of it, since I can look back from this perspective, a lot of that pain was from my parents' divorce and the breakup of the family. We didn't have family counseling. We were just kind of left to fend for ourselves, I suppose. And my way of coping was through alcohol. And then I also had like a habit of getting my sense of, worth and value from boys. If a boy liked me, if a boy wanted to spend time with me, then I felt good about myself. So back then, I had that same kind of, lower self-esteem, lower confidence in myself, lack of autonomy, because I remember, if I had a boyfriend, I always kind of put them first. And while I enjoyed that at times, it's unhealthy to do that because then when there are problems in the relationship, yourself at your core can just feel so diminished. So that was the first inclination, that I was kind of having those thoughts of not wanting to endure the pain. And basically, being alive meant pain. So you can pick up the book on Amazon. The link is in the description. And I'm going to stop this video here and then I'll continue with the next section. And subscribe if you want notifications on these updates. Thanks.